seconds to get around the potholes. On William Street, I had a photography job at a new condo development there last week, and witnessed somebody almost getting hit on a bicycle by an SUV that had to be doing 40, 50 miles an hour. And when I left and headed up William Street towards the cemetery, somebody in another SUV came barreling down towards me in the middle of the road. I think there's an accident waiting to happen on that stretch of William Street. There's a lot of speeding going on, and it probably could use some attention. It's a narrow road, a rural road, and people are driving much, much faster than they should be. You had a communication earlier tonight on some grant opportunities for Clearview Pool and the Monocacy Dam. I would strongly suggest to council that, because I read through the backup documentation, that you inquire as to the size of the grants, whether there are any matching requirements, and also where the money's going to come from, if there are matching requirements. They're both good projects, but I think as council you need to be assured that we're not incurring liabilities that we're maybe not in a position to honor. The recent council meeting, you authorized the filing of various documents for the RCAP funding for the Festival Center. As well you should. And given some of the press that the Main Street parking garage has received lately, as somebody who's not only a resident of the city but who's worked on a lot of these grants over the years, I have to question why the RCAP funding for the parking garage that was acquired, why none of that ever came to council to get authorization from city council. To the best of my knowledge, you've never had any role in accepting that funding from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I've had several emails lately concerning the remodeling, the renovations in the Department of Community and Economic Development. And a number of them have pointed out that in one of the offices there is now a sofa and a television. I didn't realize that City Hall was the Holiday Inn Express. But I have to question as a taxpayer, A, who's paying for these improvements? B, who's doing them? And finally, are the taxpayers on the hook to provide television in offices in City Hall? It seems to me that we're diverting, again, very limited resources to make City Hall something different. And in some of the same emails, people have raised the issue about someone who works in City Hall parking and handicap parking for several hours in a 1-hour parking zone. And they feel that that parking is provided for the general public's use, and it should be available for the general public's use. So I just thought I'd bring that to everybody's attention. And finally, this June it's going to be 5 years since we began a number of former city employees, some people currently on council, some people used to be on council, some residents in the community. We collected almost $800 to install some benches and dedicate them in the memory of Carl DeCello, who was a former Director of Community and Economic Development. In November of 2009, 17 months ago, it was indicated in a memo from Mr. Karp to members of council that the plaques would be purchased and installed. They are still not done. And I'm getting emails, phone calls from the people who contributed. They'd like to know what the status of this is. 5 years to install 2 benches, put some plaques on them. If that's the best government can do, God help us. Thank you.
Mr. Clark, give me an update on that, because I did send you a memo about a month ago regarding the plaque.
I actually have responded to the city clerk. The plaque is upstairs in the clerk's office. It's been in our possession since late last fall. Weather conditions didn't really allow for proper commemorative event, so it's on the calendar to be scheduled.
So you think we'll have this ceremony within the next month? Everything's in place?
I hope so, sure.
Okay, very good. Thank you. prior to Mr. Dial and Ms. Conrad.
Bill Shar, 1890 Eaton Avenue. My hearing is still better than normal according to my internist, but I'm sitting on this side of the room, so I'm not hearing some of the replies from members of the administration to council members. And perhaps we need to resume the practice of administration personnel coming to the microphone so all of us can hear their replies. I'd like to just make a general comment about Elias Farm Market. I made this comment at one of the proceedings, I think it was Planning Commission, and the lawyer for the neighbors told me afterwards I had made a legal argument, unbeknownst to me. But it's a very simple one, and it's advantageous to step back a little bit and view this property over the years, over the decades really, because it began as a roadside stand, and it's still technically a roadside stand. And I've been advocating that a plaque be erected. You are now witnessing the largest roadside stand in the state of Pennsylvania. This goes back, as we've heard at these various meetings and hearings, this goes back, way back. I mean, we're talking 50 years or more. And zoning hearing board after zoning hearing board, variance after variance after variance after variance, and now special exception. This amounts to a rezoning. That property, I believe it's 5 acres, no longer rural residential. It's now something else. It has been, in effect, over the decades, rezoned. Not only rezoned, but it's spot zoning, which is illegal. So that's my legal argument, and to me that gives a lot of perspective. This whole thing just boggles the mind. And then to think that our zoning hearing board and our planning commission, after all that, can add to it. Sometimes government is just simply incomprehensible. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Conrad and Mr. Dial.
My name is Mary Pine-Grass. I live at 321 West 4th Street. I'm here to speak a few kind words about Gordon Mallor, who is not here. Mr. Mallor and family and mine go back a long, long time. We could use more families like the Mallor family. His grandfather was Burgess in Northampton Heights. He was involved in politics. Mr. Mallor's father was councilperson, and Gordon was mayor at one time and now a councilperson. It takes a certain kind of families to be able to put up with what goes with the political arena. So the Mallor family stands as shining lights in the community of Bethlehem. But I was very, very, and I mean very appalled at the situation tonight. Mr. Spadoni is an excellent attorney. Mr. Spadoni has done his homework. I know, because I have a lot of lawyers in my family, and believe me, they did their homework. It's a mark of character that you can take a loss with dignity and grace. I've been nominated many times. I've won, I've lost. It's very easy to be a good winner, but it takes more courage to be a good loser. And what I heard and saw tonight did not please me as a citizen of Bethlehem who had voted for every one of you sitting up there. When you have an attorney who is qualified, pay attention to the man. Don't rewrite the law. Robert's Rules of Order are good, they are standard, and they fit the bill. Now, I also don't care to hear anybody give me a list of what they did. I've lived 80 years. I've done so many things in my life, I could write an encyclopedia. What does that have to do with anything? Isn't that why we put on the face of the earth? To help each other? Is it not why you are on council, to help the people in this community? I'm very, very appalled at the lack of consideration for the members of council by each other. There is no question in my mind that Mr. DiGiacinto will do a good job. And if he doesn't, I shall be the first one to tell him. But what I heard and saw tonight, a member of City Council arguing with the solicitor. That to me is a disgrace. To be able to say, I have a question, I'd like an answer, that's one thing. But to continue to refute the opinion of your solicitor is tantamount to hypocrisy, in my opinion. Remember, you are here to serve. Do not tell me what you have done. If you have time, I'll tell you what I have done, and it'll take a long time. Now, I do have a complaint. When you change a meeting date for City Council, I can't come because I have a conflict with another appointment, another, you know how it is. When you're famous, I always thought I'd like to be, I thought, yeah, infamous is more like it. I always thought life is an interesting thing. I'd like to be blind and beautiful. Well, by damn, I'm beautiful. Have a good night.
Mr. Nile?
Good evening, Council. Chuck Nile, 1966 Pinehurst Road, Northwest Bethlehem. I just want to make a comment here to these wonderful people here from the south side. Terrific. Like I said the last meeting or the meeting before about your 3rd Street and 4th Street areas, let me say 2 words to you. Jersey City. Does that give you a little creepy feeling? Have you ever been into Jersey City? Interesting. I was there yesterday. St. Mary's High School, right smack in the middle of Jersey City. That city is cleaner than your 3rd and 4th Street, and it's better regulated. They got one-way streets, east, west, north, south. Parking both sides, one way down, either direction. And you want to talk about, I'm trying to get you to make one-way streets to make it much pleasanter here in Bethlehem, but you don't want to listen. So I'm going to invite you, come to Jersey City and enjoy driving around where it's no hassle. It's wonderful. Your fire trucks can get through. Your policemen can get through. Don't worry about that. If you want another city to think about, Hoboken. Amazing. They got a approximately 15 block area up in Hoboken. Streets, shops on both sides, people, double park, 3 parks. You're still having a good time. And clean. I go with these people. What you need over on the south side, you got to start cleaning up. It's going to make our city look better. Try it. If you need help, call me.
Thank you. Mr. Italics?
Still, Stephen Italics, 737 Ridge. I failed to look at new business under courtesy of forecast. I wouldn't expect new business to be to make comment, but I do have a problem rescheduling the meeting from the 19th to the 18th. The 18th is a school board meeting, major school board meeting, and I would ask you to give it a second thought whether the Wednesday is available, because if there's no conflict, that would allow people to attend city council and also the school board meeting. Also, I wish to commend the good judgment of council this evening, and also Mr. Shire for bringing it up. The voting down the appointment of Mr. Fazil for city planning. I try and attend all school board meetings, and I'm familiar with the gentleman, and as was mentioned, he's very capable. And many of the projects involved in a school board would probably dovetail what happens in the city, so you made a very wise choice there by, rather decision by not appointing him to the city planning. Which brings me to the final comment on that issue, is that I'm trying to look at the logic and the reason for appointing the gentleman in the first place. Because if that were thought out thoroughly and ramifications considered, it should never have been made. So that kind of appointment, not reflecting on Mr. Fazil, but on the administration in terms of how it is serving the city. Based upon comments of other speakers concerning Mr. Spadoni, I'm very pleased to amend my initial offering of a Purple Heart for merit. I would amend that to also include a Distinguished Service Cross for exceptional duty under fire, in addition to your battle wounds, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Talarico.
Thank you. John Talarico, Bethlehem Authority. I just want to personally thank everyone on City Council for the support on the Nature Conservancy and your help, and especially Mr. Reynolds and Ms. Polinsky and the committee help that you gave us. We're going to read more and more about this in the next weeks and months and years to come, but certainly from an authority standpoint, it's going to help the authority to, and with the help of the Nature Conservancy, is to apply the best management practices in the watershed to prioritize our water production, as well as the wildlife and silviculture and forest associated with it. I also like to thank Mayor Callahan, who's not here, who was very supportive right from the beginning on the project, and Steve Reposh, who was here for all the work with our solicitor, because most of it was legal language, which it took several months of meetings just to hammer all that out. But I think going forward, you're going to see it was a really unbelievable alliance, and I can say almost unprecedented as far as with the Blue Source component, the Nature Conservancy, and Bethlehem Authority, and with the watershed all coming together, that it's almost a historic moment, and it will only help us to do great things up there. Also, I'd like to give special thanks to Bud Cook, who's been it's his 20th year of coming to Bethlehem Authority meetings. So he finally, tonight is his moment, his shining moment. And he wore a suit tonight, which is unusual. And and also his helper, Josh Parrish, who worked endlessly on this project as well. So, Bud, after all these years, you do good work. Thank you all.
Thank you, John. Steve's right behind you. Any other comments? This meeting's adjourned.
Amen.